10-1. And when he was interviewed after that, he said the players lost concentration. Look, let's picture this. Your players lost concentration 10 times, right?
Yes.
And then this time, they've lost concentration 12 times. In a game, that's a lot of loss of concentration.
So they're
And
not focused, is it?
look, I believe that the coaches, look, I'm not going to like just drop the bomb or the blame entirely on the coaches. There are fundamental lapses in the way we manage beach football, beach soccer thing. Even within Africa here, Senegal, let's won't even go too far. They have an organized league, right? There's been a lot of tactical development in the way beach soccer is played. It's a different animal entirely from regular football. So the skill sets that's required to have a cohesive and successful beach soccer team is entirely different from what we have at the moment. What we have is a potpourri of people who are league players who come in, they stay, hang out in Badagry Beach for about a week or two before the tournament, and then fly out and hope for the best. It can only get you so far, and then this is the product of not evolving to a level where you can be competitive on the continent and globally. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. The players have played within their abilities, and I can't blame them that much for it. Those who are in charge of developing a structure, who insist that we must be part of this, need to do better. That's the long and
And
short
then
of it.
again, I wouldn't blame the players so much because Brazil. Yeah.
Brazil, Portugal. But then look at it. Some of the teams that have even beaten them don't really have a beach ball team. Switzerland, they're not, but they're doing well. So it tells us there's something that needs
There's
to be
something
done
fundamentally wrong.
consistently.
You're right. Thank you very much for today's takes.
All right, so going to our next story, Jose Mourinho's in-game management helped Tottenham beat Olympiacos. Now, Tottenham's 4-2 Champions League win over Olympiacos featured a crucial intervention from Jose Mourinho. When Jose strode into the press conference after Tottenham came from behind to win 4-2 against Olympiacos in his first home game in charge, there was one point above all others. Make it clear. The most difficult moment of the match for him had not been seeing his side go 2 goals down. It had been his first half substitution. I think we know Jose Mourinho for always trying to make certain points clear.
Okay, so let's be clear. When you go into a club that has been where they are struggling for a measure of consistency, to a large extent, they probably performed better in the UEFA Champions League compared to their domestic performance. But Tottenham was a team that seemed to be lacking in confidence, lacking in belief. He comes in, boom, wins the first game in London Derby, gets in here. Sadly, they went 2 goals down before the turnaround, and it speaks to the gravitas that the Jose Mourinho holds and his ability to turn things around. I mean, they considered the first goal, he was still busy telling everyone to calm down. They considered the second goal, he still insisted everyone calm down. And then, things turn around. There's a belief and confidence that he's feeding into that team. And let's be clear, they may be sitting in and around the lower half of the domestic league at the moment. Jose Mourinho is the kind of person that has the ability to turn things around. And let's be clear, if Tottenham get anywhere to the finals, semi-finals, finals of this with Jose Mourinho in charge, there is a chance that that long-awaited trophy that Tottenham has been hungry for can come for them this season. The league probably out of it, but you see either the UEFA Champions League or one of the other domestic cups, there's a realistic chance that they can get it, and that is because of the manager that they have at the moment.
And you're very confident that they might be close because of Jose.
Oh yeah, look, a team can be successful either because they have a good set of players, or but almost all the time, the manager that you have determines the degree of success that you can have fantastic players, but if you don't have a manager who the players believe in, like another North London club just across the road, if you don't have a manager that the players believe in, they don't buy into his philosophy, they don't believe he can turn things around, team that is like just there.
Last time they won, it was in 1984. Was it after that?
No, I think they picked up the odd trophy on and on. But in terms of the league, in terms of European glory, they have been lacking severally,
Yeah.
and that's the next stage of their evolution. Having spent all the money they have with the new stadium they have now, it's important that they rest and have that trophy to make that evolution to what is a proper big club.
Thank you. Now, Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain, by the way, first of all, came from 2-0 down to hold Real Madrid in a huge, entertaining Champions League game with both sides already assured of their place in the last 16. Real's place was booked shortly before kickoff after Club Brugge's 1-1 draw with Galatasaray. Now, Karim Benzema put Real 2-0 up with a close-range finish and a header, but Kylian Mbappe scored after a defensive mix-up, and Pablo Sarabia fired a brilliant equalizer then. Gareth Bale, who's a replacement for Eden Hazard, who suffered a twisted ankle, almost won the game for Real Madrid deep into injury time, but his free kick hit the post, and the French champions will finish top of Group A as a result.
Look, let's be honest. In my opinion, the scoreline did not reflect the level of dominance that Real Madrid had, particularly in the first half. And PSG have a certain former Real Madrid player in Keylor Navas
Yes.
to thank for a number of really important saves. I mean, having the knowledge of having already qualified for the next stages, that takes a lot of pressure off. The team were more relaxed. Real Madrid, they played with that authority that but there are still those vestiges of defensive frailties that that you've seen even in the league, conceding goals when they shouldn't, when they're comfortable, and all of that. So, and you saw that again against a PSG who, I mean, look, they have the talent, they have the resources, they have the wherewithal to cause problems for any team any day. It was just a bit strange watching Real Madrid 2 goals up, commanding possession for great pass, and then just literally, it seemed they just collapsed for no apparent reason at the Santiago Bernabeu of all places. Considering that they already qualified, you expected them to, have a little more polish, put up a performance that would give the fans. So, performance aside, the performance in the first half was great. Not so much the second half, and it just feeds into the ongoing thing about, look, what's going on with Real Madrid, this evolution, where is it going with regards to the manager? Is the manager the right person? Do they have the right caliber of players? Do they have the right balance of players? In my opinion, we'll see how it goes, but the most important thing for them, they're through to the next stage, and we'll see how they go.
Yep, gets bigger here. Gets bigger after this.
All right, so Robert Lewandowski actually made Champions League history with 4 goals in 15 minutes as managerless Bayern Munich romped to a 6-0 win at Red Star Belgrade on Tuesday. It was the fastest 4-goal haul in the competition's history and makes Lewandowski the top scorer in Europe. This is with 10 goals in 5 games. He also saw a first half strike ruled out by VAR for a handball in the build-up.
Look, it's Red Star Belgrade. Tottenham whitewashed them in their last game. I don't know. It's not. This is one of the reasons why sometimes when they talk about records in European football, you have teams like this that just make football look rather easy. That's why probably Cristiano Ronaldo has all the goals he has for Portugal and things like that. But look, that aside, it speaks a lot about the Bayern Munich team, who, in spite of just having an interim manager, have been playing not necessarily within themselves. They've actually been turning out results and performances that have been credited, that do the team and the players a lot of credit. This is one such performance. It was professional. Red Star Belgrade were never going to ever trouble Bayern Munich. I think it was a case of how prepared they were to be professional and put in a result that would be creditable, and this is the result of that. Fantastic performance for them. It was a mere formality. They move on to the next stage where you separate the wheat from the chaff, and then whether Bayern Munich can earn their corner, as it were.
Very well.
Okay, we have a message from Ridwan who says, "Good morning, guys. Wonderful night of football last night in the UEFA Champions League. Lewandowski is currently the best striker in the world. Our tactics here in Nigeria is in proper preparation and by God's grace," he says.
And a message from Emeka earlier, he said, yes, there are fundamental lapses. So talking about the Super Sound Eagles,
Mm.
they say you can't use regular players to do the job. For example, our players are still passing the ball on the ground instead of in the air. Emeka from Ikeja, thank you for your message. Let's move on to share more messages, actually. Chimobi Victor sent in this one.
All right, this one here says Robert Lewandowski is on fire with the way he's firing from all cylinders. For me, he is the new coach of Bayern Munich.
Okay, we're naming coaches now. I guess we'll have to take a break.
Yes, we do. And when we return, there'll be more right here on Locker Room. Very correct. We're back in locker room, and of course, Khadijah's here,
Valentine is here.
and we've got brutalistics.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so
We've
moving
got
on.
brutalistics.
Yes, we do.
why did you change the way you
Huge
answered?
difference.
Yeah.
Whatever have you done to brutalistics?
I don't know, man. Uncle Bruno is my,
Is your what?
my uncle.
Is your what?
I'm very loyal.
We're watching
And
you.
you're still doing it.
Yeah.
Please send messages to WhatsApp 0809-444-0981. Do not mind the haters this morning. Let us chat. We have this one story to get into, though. Barcelona coach Ernesto Valverde knows his side can play better than in their last few matches, but urged them not to lose perspective when they host Borussia Dortmund on Wednesday, which is today, with a chance to qualify for the last 16 of the Champions League. The Catalans are top of La Liga and also lead Group F, which also contains Inter Milan and Slavia Prague, but have produced a series of underwhelming displays recently that have brought serious criticism. Their last Champions League match was a dire goalless draw at home to Slavia Prague, while they needed a freak late goal from Arturo Vidal to overcome La Liga's basement club, Legons, at 2-1 last weekend. It's been quite dismal for them, realistic.
Yeah, look, that is putting it kindly. He says that they shouldn't lose perspective. You cannot lose what you didn't have in the first place. Barcelona this season have been playing without perspective, without belief. It just doesn't seem to be Barcelona at all. And you find that even when Messi is in, they seem disjointed. There's no fluidity in their play. They concede silly goals at the back. There's no creativity. Everything Barcelona was a team that was heralded for its passing movement and things like that. You don't see any of that anymore. Everything is just quite stifled, restrained. I wouldn't even say restrained, just stifled, congested. They play like people that have really bad stomach problems.
Wow.
And all of that stuff. And it tells in their performances. Their La Liga game against Leganes, freak goal, because they went down early. And I don't know. Tega has been on about this whole change the manager, sack the president, and things like that. With the performances that they play, they're only at the top of the league at the moment because teams like Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid have refused to be consistent in delivering performances that they can against other opposition. So that's a problem. I don't know that Valverde has the answers. I don't know that this squad has the balance required to do to turn in the kind of performances that fans are used to. But they have a chance to try to get a result against an equally epileptic Borussia Dortmund team who haven't had good performances. Jadon Sancho has been on the receiving end of a lot of criticism, perhaps unfairly, on the home front for Borussia Dortmund. So they come in here with an opportunity to set the cat amongst the pigeons, really, against a lackluster Barcelona side. So it should be an interesting game in terms of what the result might be. I cannot guarantee that Barcelona will put in the kind of performance or five-star performance required to give assurance to fans of Football Club Barcelona that they are back on the path to greatness again.
Very interesting. We take your messages here on WhatsApp 0809-444-0981. Chimubi Victor sent in this one. It said Robert Lewandowski is on fire with the way he's fired. Okay, we'll take him this earlier. Emeka Nelum says Madrid threw away a 2-goal lead the way Arsenal does. Besides, I woke up this morning to see trending on Twitter that Nuno Santos of Wolves is leading the race to be next Arsenal manager. Nuno Santos is just another Unai Emery with Beardo. Arsenal needs a coach that won't only galvanize the players but also the fans. I do not think he's the one. The pressure at Wolves is different from the pressure at Arsenal.
All right, we have this one by Femi, who says, they said Jose will never get another job, that no one wants him. He got another job. Same people hoped for him to fail. They wanted him to lose yesterday and were celebrating at 2-0, but Jose is the toxic one. That was sent in by Femi from Festac. Going on to our next story right now. Arsenal, by the way, they're actually putting additional security checks in place to try to stop banned Eintracht Frankfurt fans from gaining access to the Emirates tomorrow, which is Thursday. Now, UEFA has banished the German club from to away fans for their next two Europa League games, including the Gunners' clash following fan disorder at the game against Vitoria in October. Now, this comes after 200 Red Star Belgrade fans gained illegal access to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in October, despite away fans being banned from the game by UEFA for racism.
Ban. Sorry.
Did you just do that?
Yes.
Okay. Look, so we're clear. These fans will still get into the stadium, no matter how much security you put in. Look, you ban the fans, you don't have a database of the so-called fans that you are trying to prevent from getting in. They will just get the tickets off the black market. What Arsenal should be focusing on at the moment is trying to get the team to play better. Leave the fans and solve the problem on the pitch. I don't understand Arsenal at the moment. First, you had a relatively good transfer window. You had a manager who came in and had a decent first season in charge. And then all of a sudden, things fall apart. The center is not holding. Manager, there is just a problem I think he has lost the confidence of his players. To a very large extent, I think he has lost the dressing room. They're barely keeping it together, and you can tell in the performances. They haven't lost a lot of games, but they have not played with any measure of freedom, and they've just tried to save face by not losing the games. That's what I see. The body language is off. The persistence in the board still sticking with Unai Emery at the moment when they're sitting 8th. Yes, look, they're top of the UEFA Europa League. That's fine by them. If that is the sum total of their ambition for the club, then they can stick with him. It's off, and I don't see him as a guy. Unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of sack this person, sack that person, but he just doesn't seem to have the confidence of the players to be able to turn things around, and that is critical. If you don't have that, and then you're coming up against a Frankfurt team that will be coming in knowing that there's so much tension, so much nervousness, and then the fans don't help matters when they boo every 20 seconds and all of that. So this is a combustible atmosphere, a recipe for failure, which I've heard rumors that apparently this is one of those games where if he doesn't win, they're not even giving him the option of a draw now. If he doesn't win this game, he doesn't win their next game, Premier League game against Norwich, it looks like they will just pack his bags for him and shift him to the airport.
Just keep it at the door.
So this
that
is
when you come
a
back,
seminal moment for him.
Here's your bag. Let's take more messages. Diego Kingston says, I think I share brutalistic sentiments to an extent about some records in European football. Don't know how this kind of teams manage to qualify for the Champions League, but I will insist that Lewandowski is the best centre forward right now. Okay.
Charles Chidozie says, I want to suggest to Femi from Festac not to get excited yet. It's just 2 matches and it's Jose we're talking about. Leopards don't really change.
I like how you guys troll each other on the message platform. Taya from Yaba says, Arsenal is just looking for Europa to start proper. All this excuse is not working. Good evening this early morning.
Yeah, that's actually not a nice stereotyping thing to do.
No,
with
it's
regards
not.
to it.
It's
We
not.
need to
please.
discourage that.
All right. Taya, please, next time. Blocked. Andy Ruiz Jr. thinks Anthony Joshua looks lighter and has queried if he will take the punches as well. Okay, so in a taunting match that's happening before the real match starts, Ruiz Jr. believes that Anthony Joshua could make a mistake by shedding muscle mass and exclusively told Sky Sports this, and I quote, I saw videos where he looked slimmer. I do not know if that's an advantage or a disadvantage. I do not know if he'll take the punches as well, as he did when he weighed more. The purpose-built venue for Anthony Joshua's rematch with Andy Ruiz Jr. in Saudi Arabia is close to completion. So work on the 15,000 square feet Diriyah Arena only began 2 months before the fight, which is on December 7th. Do you think you'll be ready before then?
Yeah, so I don't think the venue will be a problem, and I don't think that the crowds will be a problem as well.
But can Joshua take the punches?
Look, the same argument can be made against with regards to Ruiz. He's lost a lot of weight. I've also seen videos of him doing his shadow boxing and things like that. And to be fair, I thought that he looked slower. He seemed to have lost some of the speed that he had. So Joshua losing losing weight and all of that. So it's so that he can be lighter, he can be quicker, and he can react to his Ruiz's fast hands and things like that. So he should not be worried about whether he can take a punch. He should worry about whether he will be able to fight on the inside the way he did against Joshua the first time around. Clearly, Joshua's strategy going into this, and if he's smart, is to fight on the outside, be an outside fighter, make it difficult for him to be able to get in and do the barrage of punches that he had that opportunity. And that's the whole purpose of losing weight. You're lighter on the feet, you have endurance, the muscle mass takes a toll on your body as well.
Yes.
Being able to sustain your fitness through fights. So he's been smart, trying to learn from the mistakes that he had. So Ruiz should also be concerned about whether his weight loss has affected his punching power. I can't remember who, was it Tyson or one of these guys, who said he didn't think it was particularly smart for Ruiz to have dropped as much weight, because when you lose that kind of weight, you lose a measure of power in your punches. So he should be worried about whether his punches carry power at all going forward in it. But it should be an interesting
But
fight.
who
And
has
I
more
hope-
stamina, Ruiz or Joshua?
It's not, look, in the heavyweights, it's not necessarily about stamina. Stamina goes when you're talking about going through the rounds.
Yes.
We saw Deontay Wilder and
Wilder,
Luis
yes.
Ortiz, 7 round, one punch, change the fight. And that's the thing about heavyweight, the heavyweight division. One punch usually defines a
night.
fight.
Thank you. The knockout is here, and it's time for us to go.
Well, Lagos, very soon we get to hear from you. By 9 o'clock, it'll be time for Lagos Talks. So we're looking forward to that.
Yes, please. There's a special today. We're going to be talking about the Lagos State traffic situation, and we'll have the general manager of LASMA going to be live in the studio with us. So prepare your questions and send them to WhatsApp 0809 440 981.